Hey guys, welcome to Coffee with a Pastor, episode 40. I'm gonna wait for some people to jump on. Hey David and Hillary, I'm guessing. How are y'all doing? Hi, Dad. Hey, Zach and Peyton, Will. I'm so glad you guys are here, Stipix. I'm going to just kind of let people trickle on. Hi, Jana. Let me know how y'all are doing today. Hey, Matt. Happy birthday, Ellis. I'm guessing Heather's working. Hey, Naomi. Hi, Tammy. Let me know how you guys are doing in the comments. Hi, Tori. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. I know. I'm going to try and hold it together, guys. Yeah, so if you are a part of our local community, then you have heard some heavy news in the last 24 hours. If you're not a part of our local community here, but a part of our wider community, which we're so grateful for, we had a tragedy in our congregation in the last day. Sorry. We have, please pray for our congregation. We had a family lose their 3-year-old son tragically yesterday, so we are not well. So I don't want to, I want to respect their privacy, and I don't want to, I want to be careful with how, I handled this moment. And so I'm not going to, talk about it forever, but I wanted to let you know we are grieving right now. And we have a family in our congregation who needs a lot of prayer. So we would appreciate that. So I just wanted to share that because we have a lot of people that tune in who don't live here with us and who we still consider such a part of our community, and we feel your love and support. But I also wanted to acknowledge, for those of you who are watching, who do live here and who are feeling heavy-hearted, we obviously want to acknowledge what's happening in our community right now. It is really hard to lose anyone. It's hard to experience a tragedy. Thank you for asking. We're not sure yet how to help. We're kind of taking cues from the family, and it's still so fresh. So thank you for asking, but we're not quite sure yet. But please, if you are the praying type, please pray for sustenance and for peace that is beyond comprehension, because that's the only kind that'll work right now. For this family. So we appreciate that so much. A tragedy like this is always going to be horrific. It's always going to be unfathomable. And it just feels like a punch to the gut as we navigate it within a pandemic, and as this family has to navigate it within a pandemic. And as you know, all the logistical issues that come with that are going to be really, really tough. So it's already hard. And we as the church are trying to figure out how to support a family in a time where, you know, there's all of these measures for social distancing, and trying to navigate all that is tough. So prayers for our family in the congregation, please. And of course, prayers for our community as we try to figure out how to love them well. And this is the first time we're only 8 years old. This is the first time we've experienced anything like this at all. So we're reeling today. And I can't get on here and not acknowledge that. So what I want to do, I do want to spend a moment talking about what I had planned, but I want to read a poem and make a space for the sorrow and the grief that a lot of us are feeling right now. And so I'm going to read the poem, and I'm going to just leave a few seconds after it. And if you could just drop a prayer you might have, or words you might have to offer as a prayer over this family who's experienced such a great loss, and over our community, we would be so grateful. So yeah, I'm gonna read this poem called Blessing for the Brokenhearted by Jan Richardson. And I'm really grateful for the words of the saints, for the words of other saints, for the words of poets who can carry us when we have no words. Okay. Blessing for the brokenhearted. Let us agree for now that we will not say the breaking makes us stronger, or that it is better to have this pain than to have done without this love. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound, when every day our waking opens it anew. Perhaps for now it can be enough to simply marvel at the mystery of how a heart so broken can go on beating, as if it were made for precisely this, as if it knows the only cure for love is more of it, as if it sees the heart's sole remedy for breaking is to love still, as if it trusts that its own persistent pulse is the rhythm of a blessing we cannot begin to fathom, but will save us nonetheless. Thank you for your prayers, guys. In our community, silence is really valuable and important. And something we've done together over the years is learn how to hold it. That's something we had to learn how to do. We've learned to do a lot together, We've learned to be creative. We've learned to not compare ourselves to other church communities or the way churches are supposed to operate. And all of those have been really freeing and healing and so good for our community. We have to be creative now in this tragedy. We have to pray for creativity in this pandemic, to know how to walk alongside people who are grieving, who are losing, people who are experiencing so much tragedy in a time where we can't say, we'll see each other Sunday, or a time where we can't get together in a massive group and hug one another and lay hands on each other. It's just not how it's working right now. So we have to lean into what we know how to do, Peace of Christ Church, which is think creatively and problem solve when it seems that it's impossible. We've done it in our theology. We've done it in our logistical building spaces. We've done it when a pandemic hit and we couldn't meet, and we'll do it now. I know that that what we're feeling is nothing compared to what our precious family is feeling right now. So to know that this is how it feels for us in this space, I can't fathom what they're experiencing. It's impossible. But I want to hold space for it, and I'm grateful that you guys are here doing the same. And I want to talk briefly about what I had intended to talk about today, which was tenets of a healthy church community. And I had jotted down some notes. I planned to make them make sense, but I honestly couldn't go back to them. So this is off the cuff of just some random notes that I'd written down. And I think it's relevant, so I'll just kind of dive into what I have. And again, it won't be long. But a healthy church community, I think, begins with a non-hierarchical structure. In the last several years, especially the last 2, we have really sought to practice that non-hierarchy in our leadership and in our community. And we've really done it. I think we've done it well, you guys. I think one of the reasons that our church is healthy is because of this. Because there's not a pastor running the show. There's not a group of deacons running the show. There's no room for any type of power plays. If there's troublemakers, they don't stick around for long because it's no fun for them. It's no fun to not have any way to grasp onto any power. We just we share it. We share it in our community. There's not a hierarchy. And I think that this creates a protective barrier for us as a community of good health because, like I said, people aren't going to stick around if what they want is an ego trip, or if what they want is some kind of power or sway over everyone else. It just doesn't work in our non-hierarchical community. What do you guys think about that? I think another healthy tenet, and by the way, I think we're a healthy community, guys. I think we have a lot to learn, but I think we're a really healthy community, and I'm taking the cues of what I think makes a healthy community from you guys who've taught me and us so much. I think a healthy church community has a very clear and liberated work of liberation informed hermeneutic. Does that make sense? So the way that we interpret the Bible is informed by the work of liberation, by the work of justice for the oppressed, by the work of peace, and it is also very, very clear. We don't hide what we believe about the Bible. We don't hide how we interpret it. It's clear and it's consistent. I think that a healthy church community faces hard things. That's what we're doing right now, right? A healthy church community goes deeper into struggle, goes deeper into disruptive peace, goes deeper into to nuanced conversations and non-dualistic thinking, not afraid to go deeper into the hard stuff. It's kind of like we always say, or I always say, like, feel your feelings, face your feelings. I'm the type of person who I don't delay my feelings, and I know it's easier for some than others naturally, but none of us can ultimately delay our feelings, right? We have to eventually face them. And I think that if we face them, if we go ahead and face them and get through it, going on the bear hunt, can't go under, can't go over, gotta go through, it's healthier for us. Well, I feel like this is what we do as a community. We don't avoid the hard stuff or the hard communal theological work, theological reimagining. We face it, and that's so healthy. Even though it's hard and tricky and complex, I think it's healthy. Jana says we don't hide in boxes of meaningless traditions, and this is true. And in fact, if you guys want to add your markers of a healthy community, or maybe something you're proud of that our community does well, please share them in the comments. A healthy community embraces the fullness of God. A healthy church community embraces the fullness of God. This means that we embrace the divine feminine, not just the Father God many of us grew up with, but we embrace the fullness of God in metaphor and in language, in practice. So this is, I know we might think we have a lot of these down, but it's something that takes practice, right? Like when we speak, and then when we do our own spiritual practices alone, challenging ourselves to practice engaging with the fullness of God on an intellectual, emotional, and spiritual level. But this makes us healthier, right? Because then we see God in all of us, and we see us in God. We love this image of Imago Dei being really lived out. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I said, this is off the cuff. A healthy church community apologizes. A healthy church community apologizes when it gets something wrong, and its leaders are willing to accept critique. Enough said, right? Do I have to explain that? How many healthy churches are there when we sift them through that one? A healthy church community works toward true inclusion, and in deed, not just in word. There's a lot of churches that are welcoming and affirming on their website or in language, but we know that true inclusion means that we center voices on the margins so that our own culture and our own strategies and mission and vision and leadership reflects those centered voices. This is true inclusion. We have not been able to do this yet, but we are working toward it. We are aware of that. This is the healthy this is the healthy place to aim toward. A healthy church community holds things lightly. So important. I think we're great at this, but it is so hard. A healthy church community holds things lightly. Jana was just saying that we're not stuck in this box of tradition. The only way to be that way is by holding things lightly. We hold our traditions lightly, even the ones we created at some point in love. We hold them lightly and we let them go if they're not working anymore, if they're not helping us, or if they're doing more harm than good. We hold things lightly. Even if other churches are doing them a certain way, we don't do them that way. We hold them lightly. I think holding things lightly has really helped us in this pandemic, because we really don't have a lot of resources or politics or burdens that we are holding on to. And I think this pandemic has showed me how well we've done, because the more of that you have going into this pandemic, the harder it is to navigate ministry. And I feel so free and so liberated in our community. I'm so grateful for that. Finally, and this is not an exhaustive list, feel free to add yours, but this is all I wrote down off the top of my head yesterday. A healthy church community is trauma-informed. And this is really important to us. Every single one of us is marked by trauma. We can't avoid it. Every single one of us has wounds that shapes how we live life, how we love, how we engage in community, how we engage with the divine. And we have got to hold room for those realities whenever we are engaging as a sacred community. A healthy community does this. It makes space for people's traumas. It understands that every single person sitting in a room together or separated by screens or whatever are walking pieces of pain, pieces of trauma. And we have to keep that in mind when we're navigating theology and when we're talking about God, when we're doing life in church community together. I told you I wanted to keep this short, so that's really all those are all the tenets I'm going to say. But I always say this: any important why always comes with the so that. Why do we seek to be a healthy church community? There are lots of so that's, but today's so that is so that we are able to do what we're doing now, which is walk in this moment of grief together, which is support our family in the congregation who experienced such a deep loss well, without platitudes, without mindless comments or promises or whatever. We seek to be a healthy community so that we are able to walk in grief, so that we are able to face all the hardships of life together, so that we are able to deal with nuance and all the gray areas that life brings. A healthy church community is able to do this. This is really, really hard. To be able to travel down into the depths of lament and stick around and sift through it alongside a family, and to do it with grace, and to do it with sensitivity and authenticity. We have to be in a place of health to do that. And as a community, we have to be in a place of health. And so I know that we are going to rise to the many challenges that are ahead with regards to this tragedy and with regards to the moment of time we're living in this pandemic. I continue to preach hope because I continue to believe it. And I know that on the day that I don't believe it, one of you is going to hold me up, or all of you, or some of you. That's what we do here. We hold on to that hard-won hope we've been talking about for 6 weeks. We fight for it. And when one person can't, we fight for them. That's what we're doing now. I'm so grateful to be a part of a healthy church community. I love you guys, and I'm gonna get off now, but I'll read your comments and saying prayers for the whole community right now, and especially for our family who lost their child yesterday. So love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.